Make sure to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.
The way she like, the way she rock her body. The way she like, the way she rock her body. The way she like, the way she rock her body. The way she like, the way she rock her body. The way she like, the way she rock her body.
Waller. Yeah, the Raiders star tight end will miss his second straight game to injury, and so as a guy who went up against tight ends, what do you think of Waller for the Raiders and Kelsey for the Chiefs, and how important tight ends are to offenses right now?
I don't like these guys personally. You know, we used to just bang heads daily, whether opposing tight ends or your teammates.
Right.
You just go up against these guys all day, but they're an important piece. They're a critical piece to the offense. They allow the offense to have versatility. They can play fullback. They can play wide receiver. They can play H-back. And they align in these different positions and can be very effective. Because it's one player, it makes it difficult for the defense to identify exactly what's going on. But these two guys are one of the most special, two of the most special guys in the NFL. They have the ability to be targets, to be weapons, not only in the pass game, but in the run game.
And he's been a safety guy for Derek Carr there for, you know, however long that he's been there. But also, I think Dan Sorensen can kind of wipe the sweat off his brow, because there have been a lot of matchups here in the past where those two have been matched up, and they won't have to bang heads this time around.
Yeah. This will be a good opportunity for Kansas City. I don't think Dan will miss him at all.
Back to Price Chopper Game Day, where we're counting you down to Chiefs Raiders kickoff at Arrowhead. It is time now for Checking the Tape, presented by Community America Credit Union. In Kansas City's first matchup against Las Vegas, Andy Reid went for it on 4th down in the red zone as Patrick Mahomes hit Noah Gray for his first career touchdown. So, Desmond, as we look at this play unfold, what are your keys to success on goal line plays? And we'll get into maybe both offensively and defensively, but take it away.
Then he had to unbutton the jacket. This is my favorite segment here.
Let's go.
Red zone. This play here, this is pretty simple. You know, this is like a form of a pop pass. It's still a zone read. Patrick Mahomes, as this play goes on, you see him give the fake out to the running back. Then Noah Gray and Travis Kelce kind of end up in the same area. Tough position for the linebackers to be in. Let's let it run. Play fake there. That sucks in the linebackers. Again, this play action fake right here is simply to bring these guys up to the line of scrimmage, to create some space right behind them. And Patrick Mahomes does a good job of tucking it right in behind them.
The one thing that we talk about quite a bit is that when you are this close to the goal line, how much more difficult is it for a defender to play against, you know, an offense has this whole playbook basically for just these situations. Is it more difficult for a defense to defend that, or is it easier?
Well, there's layers to it. You know, for the defensive line, you have to be more disciplined. You can't get upfield. You can't create those vertical or horizontal seams, because then guys can just slip right through and it's a score. For the linebackers, it's a little less difficult. Defensive back, a little less difficult, because you have less area to cover. You just stick to your man, stay on them, and try to stay disciplined.
From an offensive perspective, at least for me, these were much more difficult for offenses, because you're basically playing with a 12th defender, which is that back line, and you cannot go outside of it. That is keeping you on the inside, and you can't go out. I think that this is a really interesting play design, because you're basically having your two guys here on the outside cross over each other and come into each other. So it makes it a little more difficult for Mahomes, because yes, those guys are coming together and the routes are coming together and converging. So he's got to figure out, okay, which guy's open quickest and most available, and not in any way going to allow this to turn into an interception when you definitely cannot have that.
Yeah, it's tough, but one of the beauties of this play and what Andy Reid is so good at, first off, he uses the motion to identify what the defense is in. Now he knows it's one-on-one. He got man-to-man across the board. The play fakes allows the linebackers to be sucked in, and you throw it over top. When you're in zone, this is a difficult play, because if these linebackers, one linebacker hangs back, it's going to be an interception. You know, so you better analyze it correctly, break it down correctly, and on this play, Kansas City did.
So this play is relatively simple, but we know that Reid is known for his trick plays in situations like this. How difficult is it to balance defending just, you know, a normal play kind of like this versus mentally being prepared for a trick play that he could pull out of his pocket?
Yeah, I mean, you have to be on your toes as a defender. It's very difficult, especially playing up against Andy Reid, because he's one of the best at drawing these things up. I promise you, he draws them up in the sand, but he practices them. The team, the guys, they practice these plays, and they've gotten some reps at it. So as a defender, you got to stay light on your toes. You can't just pin your ears back and fire off. You got to be disciplined in your technique and in your keys.
So we know that the offense goes through these plays during the week, and this is a big focal point of practice. But how do defenses get ready for stuff like this?
Well, you have a few different defenses. You know, you have your base defenses, but you want to be in something where you can be stout against the run, because percentage-wise, it should be a run play.
Right.
You know, but through that, you have to make sure you can cover. You can get out and cover up some of these trick plays. But it can be difficult when you got some big guys in there, and then, you know, you got guys going this way. You got Travis Kelce under the center. You got 10 under the center. You got to be on your toes when you're playing against Kansas City, and you got to be disciplined in your assignment. For
sure. And one of the things that Kansas City maybe doesn't necessarily have is that big end zone goal line threat. And that's, I think, what they were hoping Josh Gordon would become. And he hasn't necessarily gotten there yet, but have they been in a position to actually utilize him that way? That's my question for you. And right here, we're seeing that they're using the tight ends. They're using that size to get up and over defenders. But are there options there for maybe Josh Gordon to eventually end up as one of these threats?
I believe so. I believe so. But 10, he's a, you know, one-on-one versus anybody. I'm taking 10.
Yeah,
we also talked about the value of the tight ends, their ability to not only catch the ball but block. For defenders, you don't know whether this guy's going to fire off and hit you in your mouth, or whether he's going to go out for a pass. You know, if you put Josh Gordon in there, it could be a slight signal for defenders. Okay, this is a play.
That's great. Keys to victory. So, Desmond, let's start with you.